seems spread out and over a large amount of land in the rural area of Hickory, Pennsylvania. But how would it be in the 31st Ward of Pittsburgh, which is only minutes from the city? This land is a part of the 31st Ward and previously Forest Staple. If Dale Property Services Penn and Chesapeake Energy have their way with it, this land will be the future drilling site.
After an individual signs a lease, company comes in and they bring in big drilling derricks. And what they do is they drill down and they enclose their drilling in a cement case, which is designed to hopefully protect from contamination of water. And then what they do once they have the casing in there and the casing has solidified, they then begin pumping water as well as sand and other chemicals down the well to frack the shale down below, so that it opens up it kind of like splinters off and then opens up the natural gas for release. If it's not done properly, there's potential for it to be disastrous. And in this case right now, I don't think we have the proper regulations in Pennsylvania in place. And because of that, I think you're finding that there's a lot of people who are being negatively impacted by it, and it's not being done properly.
Within about 1,000-yard radius all around our property, we now have 4 gas wells, a 3-acre water impoundment, a dew point control facility, cryogenic gas plant, a compressor station, and a meter pad where they add the mercaptan, the smell, into the gas before it enters the main line. We've had contaminants in our well. We don't know where they're coming from. The air quality is absolutely terrible from the gas plant and the compressor station. There's some days the smell is so strong out there you can't go outside. There was one day I actually had gone outside and it was so strong it made me physically ill in my own yard. When you don't have air and water, what else do you have? It's totally depleted our property value. I can't imagine anyone would want to move next to any of this, even with royalties included. It's made a mess of our whole community. They've torn up the roads. There's constant traffic, 24 hours a day, in and out of the wells and the plants, where we always have to listen to the noise. The air quality is an issue. When you can't let your kids go outside and play because you have to watch a windsock and you have to listen for the venting of the pressure lines over there, that's too scary. That's not a safe way for anyone to live, let alone a child.
I think one of the big issues we have in Pennsylvania is currently drillers are only liable for anything that occurs 6 months after drilling is complete. So anything that happens after that, they're not liable to help the individual or to repair anything in any way. And often you can find that, like in the case of the frack pit where they're burying the liner, that might take a while for the water to seep into the soil and hit water tables below that and contaminate that.
Pennsylvania Oil and Gas Act is all in favor of the oil and gas industry. There are no equal scales of justice here. This is strictly for the industry. The community and the landowners are all held basically liable for any problems. And then when you do have problems, well, prove it. You have to prove it. And they have all the money because they are taking the money from the minerals that they're making underneath all these farms, and no one knows what the true volume is other than them. They monitor everything, so no one really knows what those royalties are actually, what those minerals are actually worth other than them.
At the federal level, they have exemptions because the Bush-Cheney administration created an exemption under the Safe Drinking Water Act during their tenure that exempted them from having to disclose what chemicals they use and how much of a particular chemical they use. They made it a proprietary right. They mainly did this because you have a president that was coming from the oil and gas industry, and you have a vice president who, prior to becoming vice president, was the CEO of a major drilling company in Halliburton. So much like many politicians, they were out to try to help people that had supported them and shared their interest. At the state level, you have a situation, I think, where our government wasn't necessarily aware of the issue right away. So it's not like there was a bunch of exemptions in place like occurred at the federal level. I think here it was just a matter of being taken by surprise, and a lot of our elected officials saw this as an opportunity to get money, especially in hard economic times, much like an individual would in signing a property away. And we've kind of just allowed the industry to get ahead of us, and now it's become a struggle to try to figure out how do we catch up and put regulations in place.